Hey there guys, this is Cassandra. I'm a riffle in time. I'm so glad you're here. Today we are doing a little tarot journaling and I'm doing it for the full moon in Taurus, but honestly the themes and questions are really relevant no matter, like, just universal kind of look at views. And we're using Outgrow Yourself, so if you would like to be read the truth and the whole truth, so help us, goddess, That's what we're here for. I think that being vulnerable and reflective on purpose is important. And I am a suit up, stonewall protected gal. So I think that making a point to do this is important for me. And it might be important for you too. If not, you can just listen to me ramble. As always, I'm a rambling man. What unconscious beliefs or fears are you ready to release is our first prompt. And the second is, how can you bring more commitment and honesty to your closest relationships? I ended up seeing this on somebody's page on IG for like the full moon in Taurus for Gemini, which I'm a Gemini, but again, very universal themes here. Good questions to ask yourself, especially for a full moon, honestly for any full moon, but it just felt right today, and I pulled some cards for Outgrow Yourself, and it just felt like I needed to show up here with you. I haven't in a long time done a journaling session here or shared stuff like this, so it's not like I do it all the time, but when I feel like somebody needs to hear it, here I am. I think, especially right now where everything's a little fearful anyways, and these are big fears that are out of our control that we can't do anything about. But if there's something in your physical presence that you can release today and over the next cycle, I think maybe it's make a little room for what you can't let go of yet, and what we maybe be a little less scared about everything. I have just generalized anxiety, so I'm scared of everything. So this is, I could fill this out forever, but the card we got actually for this prompt was Speak Free and True, and this is the Princess of Swords, if I'm remembering, yes. First off, I think this is something I have heard over and over again, and like a theme that's just been running that I've not been dealing with. So if this is yours, things I've heard of in probably the last 5 years that are very this is like the idea that other people's opinions about you have nothing to do with you. It was like, I think it's Polite Pastel. I think just like yesterday I shared a post from them that was like, most people don't know themselves enough, so you don't need to worry about like their opinion on you. Like, they don't even know themselves, let alone know anything about who you are. And something that I've always really believed is that we are like sharing a reflection of each other to one another. So when you're having like feelings about another person, whether it be things that you don't like, you do like, things that you admire, things you're scared of, like all these things is really a reflection of your own feelings, probably about yourself. So I've heard a lot that like the things that kind of upset you the most about someone else is something that you yourself struggle with and feel insecure about, or feel or haven't dealt with or something. And I think that's really beautiful to be able to do that for one another. That's why I'm here right now, to be reflecting back to you not just my feelings, but what also could be helpful for you, because in this like universal experience, we're all kind of trying to figure it out. And I think it's a little easier to figure out together than by yourself. I am by kind of default a self-isolator when things feel scary. And I think that actively choosing to kind of instead of, how do I put this? I think a lot of times in like being a reflection to other people, like we kind of are mindful that we are kind of projecting and we are, carrying our own weather around, and we sometimes try to like not be as, needy, or you kind of try to edit yourself and filter things and come off more palatable, and because you have this need to be understood. You have like, this card reminds me of like how much we really want to be seen and understood, and our fear of being misunderstood can pull us from this, from speaking our truth freely. And we want to be seen a certain way. So maybe we kind of don't say things that we wish we would have said. We don't act in ways that we really feel. Like there's this just ultimate fear that someone's going to look at us and misunderstand who we are, and then it will forever affect how this person sees you. And though like how someone sees you doesn't affect you, like who you are, it feels like it does. It feels like the way other people see you has this weight that can change you. And I think in an effort a lot of times to prevent other people from thinking you are, again, any certain thing, you're not as honest. You aren't as, it's not even just honest, but you're not as open. You're not as real and raw and true. You're not your truest self because you feel like your truest self is too much or not enough or all of those things. And you get kind of away from that true self. And sometimes you can find yourself standing a little too far from who that is and maybe be a little lost and confused. And I think one of the biggest kind of helps for me in getting back to where I'm supposed to be, to that kind of truer place, is being more honest, leaning into who I am more, even if it isn't what someone would want. I say a lot of the times that I will, even like in a silly sense, like I'll make content because I think it's what someone else wants to see. I get disconnected from my practice because I'm practicing in ways that I think are going to be better for someone else instead of how I would initially do it. I think the unconscious belief or fear that needs released is that someone else's opinion about you is going to change who you are. I think there's always been this fear of mine that someone will look at me and point at me and be like, you don't know enough, you are not enough, you're not smart enough, you're not, you know what I mean, whatever it is, it's this feeling of being not enough, and then also at the same time being too much. If you're somebody who's been too much to somebody else, that is also an uncomfortable feeling. So it gives you this crazy, like, trying to balance, and balance is good in so many spaces, but when you're trying to balance like a scale that's completely dependent on someone else's view, and not like reality, not like real things. I think sometimes I get really lost in that though, and say I'm always this way. If you're in contact with me ever, I'm always secretly worried that you hate me, you think I'm stupid, what I'm saying back to you is not the right thing to say. I get very anxious on my responses, very like I'm saying this and I know what I mean, but I hope that they know what I mean. And then I just like freak out about that. And I'll make videos, and sometimes I get so in my head making videos, I don't make the video because I will start it over 150 times because I'm like, that's not the right way to say that. That like sounds stupid, or just like, again, very, very, this is a fear of mine that I need to work through, is that I have to just be myself and say say the things I want to say. And if someone doesn't think I'm funny, or doesn't think I'm smart, or doesn't think I'm enough, or that I'm too much, and that's absolutely their right to feel that way, and they are more than welcome to make a decision to not be around me and not be my friend and not watch my content and not whatever it is. It's like, I remember specifically having this conversation, this like almost thing, this I've said this, is like giving people back the power to choose for themselves if I'm enough, or if I'm like too much, like whatever it is. It's like, it's their choice if they want me around, or to hear me or listen to me, or whatever it is. I don't need to make that choice for them. I need to offer people what I have. I need to be myself as who I am, and that's enough. And I spent the larger majority of my life being a people pleaser who was ready to be anyone and anything anyone needed at any time, and just like morphing and molding, and you know what I mean? Just like it ended up doing, honestly, a little of the opposite. And that's why I'm here, because instead of being vulnerable and open and having more moments of just like connection with people, I self-isolate at a default, and I share what I feel is okay to share, mostly surface level stuff that doesn't make me as nervous. And I really kind of put this wall between me and anyone and anything, and I'm like a very like protected person because of, you know, all the things I've ever feared. And the horrible thing about that is you miss out on a million connections if you're not. And if you are someone that I've like talked to, and I've like shared with, or I've like connected with, and I've been in those conversations with you, know that's me being my bravest. My bravest, and trying my hardest to be vulnerable and to be open. And I don't do it often, but there are a few of you maybe that would be watching that. I really appreciate you, just you, whoever's watching, I appreciate you. But it is not easy for me to put myself out there with other people. And what unconscious belief or fear are you ready to release? I think that I'm always kind of scared that the person on the other end is going to hurt me. And it's very much easier for me to be in control of the situation and keep people at a distance. And I find it a lot harder to connect with people and feel close to people. We've talked about how like I'm not ready for friends, because that's always been a really hard thing for me. And I think it's but starting to get to the point. It's not that I just don't have the time. I have a little bit of time, and I think it's more that I'm scared. So that's my vulnerability practice today, and I want to say I'm proud of myself. And that might not be the cool thing to say, but I'm really proud of myself for thinking those thoughts and sitting in something that's uncomfortable long enough to get there. Speaking freely and truly. Check. Next, now that we're 20 minutes in, I'm so sorry if you're still watching this is forever. How can you bring more commitment and honesty to your closest relationships? And we have trust and rest. And that honestly really just feels beautiful for me. That feeling of like needing to control things, just like trust that my best intentions are received without me having to try so hard. I so desperately want other people to be happy and to be happy with me. I want to give people hope. I want to do good things. Like I want it so badly that giving people that, like, being the positive thing for people, I want to do that so much that I don't have anybody who I feel I can really sit with in my negativity. Like, I spend a lot of time trying really hard to just be, again, that like hopeful presence. And I think sometimes I need to just and kind of just be with someone. And I think I would find more honest connection with people if I wasn't trying to, I don't ever want to sound negative. I don't want to ever like let on that I'm not capable, because I am. I'm allowed to have a frustrated thought. I'm allowed to have these feelings, and me not being vulnerable and honest, and me feeling like I have to control the perception of others and their reaction to me and their feelings about me is not helpful. And it's something I really need to put down. Even if I'm doing it with the best intentions in mind. Like, I don't want to be a burden to other people. I don't want somebody to feel heavy because they're interacting with me. I don't want to take someone's hope from them. But I'm allowed to be disappointed, and I'm allowed to be scared, and I'm allowed to be unsure, and I'm allowed to have my feelings. Again, I do my most to carry my own weather, but I don't need to do it to the point that it's dishonest. That I am showing up only when I'm chipper. I am replying and like taking out anything that could sound like is not like hopeful, helpful. I never want to bring other people down. That's never going to be me. I don't want that. And so in a way that's okay, but in my most kind of, or not intimate relationships, but I think to the people closest to me, I can just trust and rest. I can let them just be there with me. I have the few humans that occupy my personal space love me. And not just because I'm hopeful and helpful. one of like my favorite humans. I remember one time we went to kind of run an errand together, and I was with her in the store, and I told her, I'm sorry that I'm not being more helpful. And I felt really bad about it. Like I wasn't able to help her find what she was looking for. And she literally told me, I didn't ask you to come with me to be helpful. I asked you to come here and be with me because I wanted to be with you. And no one has ever said something like that to me. And I just like didn't realize that people's intentions aren't always for me to help them. And I have so many people around me and that have been in my life that is like I was to be helpful to them. And some people I might even project that onto, and I do it because I think that's what they want. And I've confused that a time or two. And some of my friendships have ended because of one way or the other, whether they needed me to be helpful and I didn't have the space, they like required too much of me, or one in particular where like we both were kind of in that of just wanting to be positive and hopeful and helpful to a negative, to the point where we were so disconnected from our relationship in like its actuality. Like we didn't know what was going on with each other because we weren't showing up with each other when we were having a hard time. And I feel like that now. I feel like I don't have people that I really show up with when I'm having a hard time. I try to like the world is stressful enough. They don't need my issues, but it's okay to like, I want more connections with people who can understand that I am disappointed or upset or whatever, but like I don't need them to fix it, and that I'm just like feeling my feeling in the moment. Like I'm like one of the most self-aware, reflective, like turn the day around kind of people. As like, even when I'm having a bad moment, like by the end of the day, I promise you, I'm going to figure out how to still have like see some good in my day. And I don't need anyone to help me do that or anything like that. But I need someone I can just be like, I'm really scared about the state of the world, and this is like heartbreaking. These things are horrible and things are scary and like stuff like that, and like be able to just be honest. It's like today was really frustrating. Like all these things kept happening and like it felt like everything was against me. I know it's not. I'm again self-aware. I'm very intelligent. I'm very capable, and like, but I need someone I can just say that to. You know what I mean? I need honesty. I need honesty in my spaces where I can just feel not that it's back to that original, like my fear that someone's going to misunderstand and think that I'm just being negative, or that like they think that I am like, I don't want to be on the other end. I guess I've been so many times have been on the other end of people who did want me to fix it all, and who just were always very negative and who didn't want to turn it around. Like I've been on that end where I've just like Mrs. Fix It for everything for people, and I don't want anyone to ever think that's what I want from them. And that's clear communication, that's honesty, that's speaking freely in my truth and trusting and releasing that to others at that point. It's like I've communicated to you what my needs are, what I have, how I feel, what my intentions, all these things. And now I just need to like leave that to you to know and do what you will with it. I mean, if after I've told you what my intentions are, if you've said like, this is an open space, like you can say those things, like I understand that you don't want me to fix it. You understand that you're not trying to be like super negative. And if that feels too much for you, that's on you to like make that decision for yourself. And I don't need to be the one to like pre-make the decision that someone can't handle something. It's their responsibility to know what they can handle, to tell people what they can handle, to set boundaries. I do not need to pre-set boundaries for people. That's crazy. I've been finding that connection hard though. I think the world is just hard right now. And I think everybody's feeling that. And I think it's hard to feel like the soft ooey gooey center of connection when like the universal connection is so buzzing with hopelessness and fear, and I don't know. I do think this was helpful for me, and maybe you, maybe not. Maybe you're not still here. That's okay. And this like kind of content is only for who it's for, and it could be for 0 people, and it's still good because it was helpful for me. And this is my practice, and this is my channel, and that feels good to have something that benefits me here, and it not just be about like what video I could make that would benefit others. I'm allowed to be like in a reciprocal relationship. There can be reciprocity here. Thank you for being a space where I can speak free and true. I love you.